Hi everyone, thanks for tuning back in. I'm going to tie another Perdigon pattern for you today. So this is the Pliva Perdigon. I'm going to tie this one in a 22 with a 3.5mm bead, but I would generally tie them in 24s, 22s, with a 3mm, 3.5mm and a 4mm on the 20s. So it's a quick tie, so let's get right into it. Right, so in the vise I've got a size 22 and a 3.5mm Copper Jig Off bead. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually come in with some GSP, so I'm just going to put a bit of wax on it so it's quite a slippy thread to stop it sliding around. I'm going to just whip that in behind the bead. I'm going to cut my butt section away and I'm going to spin my thread counterclockwise to flatten it, and I'm going to go right to just before the bend and give it another spin counterclockwise. So then the next material is some Coq De Leo. So this is a Medio. So I'm going to take only 3 or 4 fibres, don't want too many. I'm just going to pull them away from the stem just to line them all up. And I'm going to do this, I like quite a short tail on these, so just short of a shank length, so a bit long there, so you can just grab those, make sure you've got them all and pull them down. And then take that right behind the bead and we can cut those away. So the next thing I'm going to come in with is some Glo-Brite number 11. This is the chartreuse. And I'm going to pull that up under the thread and onto my side, grab my thread and just pull those down to just behind the bead. And I'm going to tie this right down to where we finished tying that tail in. Like so. And then I'm going to come back up. So I'm going to spin my vise upside down and I'm just going to take this out. Now, yes, you could tie your tail in, your Glo-Brite with the next material, but I just find it easier. I don't build up as much bulk tying it in with the GSP, so I'm just going to cut that out. And then the next thing I'm going to come in with is some body quill material, and this is a BQ35. So it's just an olive body quill. You know, there's plenty out there you can use. Don't think it makes too much difference which one you use, so I'm just going to whip that in. Cut a tag away, and then I'm going to create a little bit of a taper here, so I'm going to go right down to where I finished tying the Glo-Brite in. I'm going to come back up and I'm going to just create a tiny taper. That's enough there. And then I'm going to take a hackle plier, I'm going to grab the Glo-Brite, I'm going to cut the end away, and I'm going to give this a clockwise spin just to tighten it all up. And this is just going to be our rib. So now just in open turns, I'm going to create a nice even rib all the way up the flight. Make them a little bit wider, I think. I only want 3 or 4 turns of this. And come up behind the bead because I want to catch this Glo-Brite in right at the back of that bead, because when I cut it, it'll just make for a neater fly. So a couple of turns behind, a couple of turns in front, and then just trim that away as tight as you can. Don't have to be too precise because we can hide a lot of that when we do our UV. So now I'm just going to whip finish. This can be a little bit awkward to whip finish because it's quite slippy. So I'm going to do 3 turn whip finish. I'm going to pull that down and catch that in at the back of that bead. and then just trim the material away. Right, so you can see I've actually got a little tag there. I'm not bothered about that because I'm going to be able to hide all that in a minute. So then the next thing I'm going to do is take some Raidzap. This is the Raidzap Thin. I'm going to put a bit of this on a bodkin. So you don't want too much. I'm just going to apply some on one side, then some to the bottom. I'm just going to work that around now. Just make sure it's all nicely covered. So just make sure it's all nice and neat. You've got a nice profile to the fly. And then I'm going to give it a spin so it doesn't run. I'm actually going to put a little bit more on there. I'm not quite happy with that. You know, if you're not happy with something, you know, rather than just put up with it, you can make it right. So I'm just going to put a tiny bit more on, just to build up a bit more of a body. Cut a little bit at the back so I can get rid of that. And then give it a spin, and that should even it all out. And then zap it with your torch. Not too bothered about being fully cured at this point, because what I'm now going to do is I'm going to reposition my fly. And next thing I'm going to come in with is some Raidzap. This is the Black Widdow, and we're going to create a wing bud or a wing case. So just angling that fly down just helps this sit in nicely. So you've just got to be quite quick when you're doing it. You don't want to add too much or it can run down the side of the fly. So just add a bit in and then invert your fly, give it a quick zap just to cure it all, and then you can cure the rest of the fly. Give it a really good cure with the light. So once that's fully cured, that's the fly complete. So really simple tie, definitely one you guys want to get tied up in your boxes in different sizes, different bead sizes. So thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next video.